We're skipping the usual intro today, guys. We're diving straight into a true crime mystery that is literally going to shatter that illusion of safety we all take for granted. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're looking at a deeply, deeply unsettling case. It's basically a psychological nightmare that really begs the question. When you lock your doors at night, are you locking the danger out, or are you actually locking yourself in with it? I mean, just listen to this. My family has been keeping an eye on this house for the last 100 years. Imagine opening an envelope and reading those exact words about the place where you sleep. This isn't some cheesy line from a horror movie. This is documented evidence. We're talking about a stalker who didn't just want to terrorize this family. They claimed a sort of twisted, historical ownership over their sanctuary. Section 1. The perfect Victorian nightmare. Okay, so to really grasp the gravity of this, we gotta go back to the beginning. Picture a quiet, super posh neighborhood in New Jersey, right? A woman named Sarah just bought her absolute dream home. It's this stunning, massive, older Victorian house. We all know that feeling, or at least the idea of it. You buy your first real home and it feels like every single one of your life's goals has just materialized. For Sarah, this estate was the ultimate prize. Beautiful architecture, pristine neighborhood, the whole shebang. But that dream lasted exactly 48 hours. On just her third day of moving in, Sarah walks out to her mailbox and finds a single, stark white envelope. No stamp, no return address. That means it didn't go through the post office. Someone physically walked right up to her property and put it there. On the front, handwritten in ink, it just says, "To the new owner." Now, Sarah smiled at first. She figured, hey, it's a welcoming note from a nice neighbor. But the second she opened it, her blood ran completely cold. Let's dive into exactly what this stalker wrote. They introduced themselves as The Watcher, and they wrote, "My grandfather started watching it in the 1920s, my father in the 1960s, and now it is my turn." Let's pause and really unpack the psychological terror going on here. This is not a random act of vandalism. It's not a prank. The Watcher is establishing a terrifying generational timeline. They're basically telling Sarah, look, you might have bought the deed to this house, but my family owns its soul. They are claiming a literal century of unbroken surveillance. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, maybe it was just a bluff, the specific details the Watcher listed in that very first letter are insane. The stalker wrote, "I see you have a new bed. Is that where you sleep? I am watching. I am always watching." They actually demanded new blood, referring to Sarah and her family. And, most chillingly of all, they asked Sarah if she knew what was hidden behind the walls of the house. This proves we're dealing with a severe, immediate, physical threat. The Watcher had intimate, inside knowledge of the home's layout and even Sarah's recent furniture deliveries. Furious and obviously terrified, Sarah assumes it's a sick joke, throws the letter away, and makes sure to aggressively lock the large, old wooden window in her room. Section 2. 3:14 a.m. Camera alert. Which brings us to the very next night. Sarah, understandably, isn't taking any chances. She locks the house up tight and installs a brand new system of smart security cameras to monitor the inside and outside of her Victorian home. When we map out this timeline of terror, the escalation is what's so uniquely horrifying. Notice how fast things compress. Day 3 is the mailbox letter, right? But by the very next night, the stalking breaches the digital perimeter of the house and completely collapses any perceived safety Sarah had left. I want you to imagine this for a second. You wake up in the dead of night. Your house is pitch black. The old Victorian wood is completely silent. You roll over, look at your glowing phone screen, and see this exact time, 3:14 a.m. And right beneath the time, a banner notification pops up on your screen. It reads, "Motion detected in the living room." Your heart instantly jumps into your throat. You know you locked the doors. You know you locked the windows. But this brand new smart camera system is telling you definitively that something is moving downstairs right now. So Sarah grabs her phone, hands literally shaking, and opens the live feed. Step 1, the camera connects. Step 2, she stares at the screen, but the living room is completely empty. There is absolutely no one there. But then, Step 3 happens. Right in front of the camera lens, as if appearing out of thin air, a stark white envelope flutters down and drops onto the living room floor. It fell exactly as if someone had just let go of it from just above the camera's field of view. Which brings up a massive, terrifying question, because this is the logic gap of this impossible crime. No human being was visible on that camera feed. Not a shadow, not a footstep, nothing. So who dropped the letter? How does an envelope just materialize inside a locked house in an empty room right in front of a motion-activated camera?
Pushed by sheer adrenaline, Sarah leaps out of bed and sprints down the stairs to the living room, and the envelope is sitting right there on the floor. With shaking hands, she tears it open, and you have to realize the real-time feedback the stalker is giving her here. The note reads, "Why did you lock the windows? When you sleep, your breathing is very fast. I like your fear. There is a lot of space inside the walls. Come sometime." Think about that. The watcher didn't just know she locked the window earlier that day, they claimed to know what her breathing sounded like while she slept. That implies a proximity that is just absolutely suffocating. Section 3, the impossible fingerprints.
Now, if you thought that living room envelope was terrifying, what happens next totally defies logic. We are entering the climax of this technological terror, and it happens mere seconds after Sarah reads that second letter. While she's standing frozen in the downstairs living room, literally holding the note, a second notification buzzes in her hand. Motion detected on the balcony. This is critical because this specific camera isn't pointing at a common area. It is pointing directly toward the exterior of Sarah's personal bedroom.
Here is the sheer horror of the situation. On the live feed, Sarah sees that the outdoor balcony is completely, utterly empty. But on the screen, right before her eyes, wet handprints and fingerprints begin forming. But wait, they aren't on the outside glass. They are forming on the inside of the camera lens, smearing across the digital sensor. It looked exactly as if someone or something was reaching through from inside the hardware, trying to touch her through the screen of her phone. The digital security system hadn't failed to keep the threat out. It had simply documented that the threat was already inside.
Section 4, terror inside the walls. And this drives us to the final, terrifying physical climax. Sarah is standing in the middle of her living room, her phone illuminating the dark. The camera feeds are showing impossible things. And then, the dead silence of the house is broken. Right behind her back, coming from deep inside the old, thick wooden structure of the living room wall, a faint sound echoes. Scratch, scratch, scratch. A deliberate physical sound. The watcher didn't need to break in, did they? Because they had already claimed that there was plenty of space inside the walls. This case leaves us with a deeply unsettling reality about the spaces we call our own safe havens. We fill our homes with cameras to watch the outside world, completely blind to the dark, empty spaces built into the very framework around us. So I'll leave you with this final thought to take away from our explainer today. When you hear your house settling tonight, what is hiding behind your walls right now? Thanks for joining me. Keep your eyes open.